Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Lux Innovation Leaders Series. And today I have an amazing R&D innovation leader with me. And we're going to explore a lot of really exciting topics. It's Greg Meyers from Nourish Ventures. Greg, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's start with, and by the way, I'm Marisa Kopec. I'm the president at Lux Research. You and I have talked before. One of the things I'm very impressed with is some of your learnings and experiences. I would love for you to share one or two of those stories
Yeah.
in terms of things, because I think it's really what influenced me or made me think the stories you're going to tell are interesting, are that it really turns you from a scientist and an R&D, which it tends to, can be very internally myopic kind of role, right? And you're incredibly customer centric. Your organization is, and that's really unique still today from an R&D perspective. So share with me some of those learnings and best
Yeah.
practices around customer centricity.
Yeah, and as you said, it's something that we as Griffith are really starting to adopt and internalize in how we innovate for the future and bring solutions, through that
Mm.
customer-centric mindset to not only the customers we call on. I mean, we're a B2B organization predominantly, so we're calling on, protein processors, snack processors, things of that sort. But ultimately, when you're thinking about innovating, you're not necessarily only innovating for our direct customers. You're really innovating for the consumers that are really procuring the products and evaluating them at home, right? So,
Mm.
the historically speaking, and as I mentioned previously in my history, I used to be part of the U.S. innovation team for Griffith Foods, and a lot of times, we would take a bit of a crystal ball approach of leveraging our own internal expertise
Yeah.
around what are those grow aggressive categories that we were attempting to innovate for, and then using our own subject matter expertise to say, okay, well, I think we really need to solve for X, right? And then we would go do. And the challenge with that at times is by the time you finally figure out that solution, you scale it up, you go through feasibility and all the way through the commercial steps, you get it out to your customers. And at times you kind of realize like an uh-oh moment that, maybe this isn't solving an inherent problem for our customers as they see it, like
Mhm.
how we saw it, right? So it really kind of put this light bulb on our innovation mindset in terms of how we really needed to take a more customer centric, consumer centric approach to how we innovate, leading with what are those consumer pain points that we're trying to solve for, and what is the right to play that we have as Griffith as an organization. And that's certainly through the Nourish Ventures mindset of where's that right to play for us to be able to develop or deliver solutions to meet these customer pain points and consumer pain points. So
Mhm.
we've really shifted how we even go all the way through ideation through to commercialization by making sure we're taking a consumer-led approach to that, really following the consumer insights and customer insights, identifying what are those pain points, and then brainstorming off of that to really ensure that we are, developing solutions that meet the customer needs. So by the time we're in front of the customers, it's coming with a story of your consumers are looking for this. Let us help
Right.
you to solve this problem through the innovations we have, that we can bring through our B2B solutions for the
Mhm.
industry. So that's one example of that,
Mhm.
certainly. And I would say the second example is, when we do innovation, and again, because of that kind of glass, crystal ball approach, you're challenged at times when you're going through the scale up that you get so heavily invested in what it is that you are developing that you kind of
Yeah.
really want to hang on to this. So making sure that you're following, the right steps in development to ensure that by the time you are commercial and ready to take your solution to customers, that you've done the appropriate due diligence along the way to make sure that you're truly solving against the objectives that you put forward at the initiation of the project. So there was a project that I was running, was to develop, a clean label alternative to a synthetic solution, really with the eye in mind that we were going to approach some of our snack customers with these, inorganic solution. And what had happened along the way is we never really got boots on the ground through the development with the manufacturer that was, we were in collaboration with on that product, which resulted in, either it was a scenario where there was some language barrier in translation, or just never really saw the process all the way through for ourselves. And it ended up resulting in information being shared that this product isn't organic or won't meet the needs for organic. And in reality, the solution is inherently inorganic. So it just doesn't meet the definitions of organic, right? But may have still worked for that product. So it embarked like a whole another project of finding an alternative supply, which we now have. It's actually a solution that we're now selling into kind of the pharma nutraceutical industry, surprisingly enough, and not food as of right now. Because again, it was one of those that when we went out to customers, it was one of those things like, well, why do we need this for our products? And it was kind of this aha moment again, where this customer centricity needs to be the leader of how do we innovate to ensure that by the time we're calling on our more traditional customers, that we're really solving a problem that they have, or their consumers are asking for. So those are kind of two examples where,
Yeah.
customer centricity is important, but also just ensuring that you get your own eyes on the totality of the process, to make sure that as you're having those difficult conversations, that you have kind of your own, validation proof points of, how you've addressed the project from the beginning. So those are two kind of interesting case studies that really help to define how Nourish Ventures now assesses any technology prior to investment.
They're super interesting case studies, and they're so educational from a learning perspective.